Hello, and welcome to Sons of Trier Theater. Tonight, we present you with a dramatic reading of a letter we received from a very concerned libertarian who felt like it was finally time to have his say. Let's listen in.
March the 14th, 2017. Parasites! Boop! Tax Claim Bureau. Address redacted. You may cite all types of treasonous acts. 1947, 542 of 1947, etc. But the fact still remains that all of you are less than honorable! And your various laws and acts remain unconscionable and devious and without merit. But you have no shame. Empty, hollow beings yet to be judged. Bankrupting the residents of this once great country. I have enclosed 3 checks to pay your ass-est taxes as follows. Payments redacted. Total payment, US dollars in the sum of $5,252.84. I submit these payments under protest, and I view them as a direct violation of my civil rights. Per United States Code Title 18, Crimes and Criminal Procedure, Part 1, Crimes, Chapter 13, Civil Rights, Subparagraphs 241, Conspiracy Against Rights, 242, Deprivation of Rights under Color of Law, and UCC Code 3087, Reservation of Rights under Protest.
Numbers.
Thank you.
Wow, yeah. I have no idea what to say to that.
Well, that's because there's only one thing to say to that. And it's welcome to the Sons of Trier live stream, listeners. Here we are, live, of course, at So Trier Cast on Facebook, also on Twitch, and possibly other places. I'm so good at the intro. Because I am, of course,
You're
the
the
true
best.
horror.
Yay.
Yeah.
Of course, the true horror, as you well know, if you are here. We are also joined tonight by the fabulous John Sinclair.
The human yarmulke clip.
Yes, as per usual. We are also joined by EattheRich.
Eat the rich, consume the wealthy, scarf the well off, chow down on the moneyed, snack the opulent, ingest the affluent, munch the millionaires, bank with the billionaires. Eat the rich.
I'd say that all of those options are appealing to me. That is
Very much
a
so.
regular you describe a regular buffet of the bougies, sir.
Buffet of the bougie. That's a pretty solid one.
Yeah.
And chuckling in the background, of course, we are also joined by Cenk Engels.
Self-hating capitalist back for around a million. Is it a million yet? Am I allowed out of this basement yet?
It is a high number, sir.
No.
Okay.
It is a high number. When the display on the wall finally rolls over, when there's no more space for more digits, you will be released.
Okay.
You gotta eat bugs now.
All right, guys. I think we're
I was doing that already.
I think we're ready, guys, to have a really productive, really good. Oh, wait, hang on. I am being informed we are also, unfortunately, joined by Dan Cohen.
Thank you.
I thought that was Andrew Cuomo.
Ooh. Sexy.
Oh, yes, it is Andrew Cuomo. Thank you for introducing me. So
I'm Andrew
well,
Cuomo too. We got 2 Cuomos.
that's 2 of us. That is my brother Chris.
That's
one.
the
No.
maximum quota of Cuomo's.
Guys are just joking. There's not 2 of them. That would be so
We
awful.
can totally fuck each other.
We fuck each
Yeah.
other. We like to have sex with each other.
No,
Is that a
you guys.
crime?
We just called it playtime.
It's fun. It's fun to have sex with my brother.
You
Is that
guys
a
are
problem?
you guys are just joking with me. There's only one Cuomo. If there were 2 of them, that would be so awful.
But
There was
there-
No
that
one
science
would
Create like
experiment
conflicts of
back
interest.
in
and shit.
1964 that went awry. Millions died.
No one would tolerate 2 of those motherfuckers. I won't believe this.
in the
It was
year
a slip in the subspace where yin energy and yang energy combined to form the perfect nexus of stardust, and they were forged from the moon itself.
Motherfucker was definitely forged.
in the year 1964, Mario Cuomo initiated the Janus Project underneath the Statue of Liberty. He produced exactly 2 twins. One of them not really that good, who went on to be
Hey.
a CNN anchor, and the other really bad, who went on to touch women's butts.
Hey, I'm doing les enfants terribles over here. Hey, these cursed genes. Hey,
I'm doing Les Enfants Terribles.
hey.
It's okay if
Hey.
you don't say grab the kitty, right?
You guys is gonna have to fight on the roof of the Capitol building. Hey, one of you is gonna have robot tentacles. Hey,
Fight.
see who's gonna be the president. Hey.
Fatality.
I never broke the law. I am the law.
One of yous can be a newscaster if you lose. Fine. You don't gotta do nothing. You just sit there. The lady's gonna say something. The other one will talk as well. You just sit there.
You forgot looking smug. That's the most important part.
Oh, God, they are an awful group of people.
I mean, like, I feel like I can vaguely remember growing up, like New York politics, like somehow didn't matter as much or something.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just an effect of me being down here, but like, I can kind of vaguely remember talking our ostensibly democratic household of who or what a Mario Cuomo was. But of course, I just assumed that it was like weird that there was a guy that was named Mario other than a video game plumber, and I just thought my parents were making that up to try to fuck with me. Like, I didn't really believe in Mario Cuomo.
Yeah, I don't actually remember Mario Cuomo at all. The earliest time, I kind of agree with you though. The earliest time I can remember New York politics being relevant was like Rudy Giuliani,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and I feel like it's because they shoved him on SNL a lot. And as a kid, I did watch the ever living fuck out of SNL.
That looks like, if you watch that looks like a different human being. I mean, I was not fucking around when I did the story that features him, where he's, having his guts rooted around and replaced with mechanics. That motherfucker now looks like the Bat Child. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Everybody's posted that he looks like the Bat Child, but he didn't. He looked like a normal guy, and he would walk out and he would do his America's Mayor bit, and they would all laugh.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing, the first
Yeah.
like
about
controversy that I remember was probably and like being from that area too. Like the first controversy I remember is definitely Elliot Spitzer, and now like
Oh,
yeah.
honestly, like that's the thing is like now it seems quaint that like a politician would just get like caught with like a dildo in his mouth or something, right? Like,
Right.
I mean, that's not what happened. That's not what happened to Spitzer. Don't get me
Depends on
wrong.
how big the dildo is.
Nah, I think it's actually like any of like the sex scandals or whatever seem quaint compared to just like how rampant these people are sexual abusers. Like, it's honestly
Yeah.
innocent.
Yeah. They'll just come out
If
and have
anything
like a
comes
billion allegations.
Yeah. Like, if anything comes out where it was consensual and you're supposed to give a shit, you're just like, wow, I totally don't care. Like, all these people seem to be having a good time. Like, who gives a shit?
Yeah, I think
Like, but look what they're doing. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, if nobody's doing it to anybody, then been good. You
You're
know?
on
Yeah,
the-
the only time it
you're
matters to
listening
me is
to
whenever
news. You're
there's,
listening to news. You're like, should I care? Should I care? Should I care? Consenting adults? No, great.
No, the only time I care is if it's a matter of someone being absolutely disingenuous. Like whenever Republican, it's inevitably always Republican, right? Whenever
The gay
Republicans
orgy
come
Republicans.
out being gay.
Yeah.
In a
It's-
gay
the
orgy.
problem is not that they're gay; it's the fact that they constantly push homophobia and anti-gay agendas on their
And
free
then literally show up at an orgy.
Yeah,
If they Yes. If they try to happen to
Not
Roger Stone's
figuratively,
house.
literally.
time. Literally
Yes.
gay orgy. They're like, I
So-
know what the gays are doing because I'm doing it regularly.
So
Well,
you know,
It's funny. It is funny that you say gay orgy because there was like that right-wing Hungarian politician who's like, we're going to have to liquidate the gay for slurry, and like he was at a gay orgy. Like,
Liquidate right into his bedroom.
yeah, I'm gonna have to make all those boys liquid on me. Just liquid
Oh.
on
That's-
me.
That's the
Liquid
only way
fate.
he can stop. That's the only way he can stop thinking about just going to another gay orgy like the next night.
Yeah.
He's like, they all have to go.
Yeah,
It's
they all
like-
have to go on me. They have to go on my face and chest. Some
Hey,
on
he's
my
willing to
bottom.
take one for the team.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Willing to take many for the
Take
team.
many,
I
many for
take
the
on
team.
23, 24 gay even. I tough man. Yeah, a very tough.
What is it,
Yeah.
100 on one?
Yeah. Well, speaking of all this shit, what does bring us to the table tonight is obviously the left superstar, Emmy award-winning governor.
I can't believe that's a real statement.
That's how.
Normally, I would
dumb
say that was a joke, but it's not.
Yeah.
2020s is a joke.
Enemy of
I
our
just-
boy Bill De Blasio, because we're I don't know about you guys. I'm a Bill De Blasio boy. I'm his
Yeah,
son
I-
Dante, actually.
oh man,
Is-
there is.
Are they rich?
You guys don't remember that. John remembers that.
Oh, I remember that bit.
You-
I
you-
remember that bit.
Yeah, you don't remember it. I'm Son, I was talking to the other hip hop boys. Dad, what are you doing? Dad, why are you talking to me like that?
The kid's normal.
Yeah. Dad, I want to go back to playing Fortnite, okay? When you tell your hip hop friends to stay off the crack, Dad, stop calling them hip hop friends.
They're just my normal friends.
They're just friends. We just say friends, Dad.
Well, there's this long list of because here's the thing that I think is happening here. And I'll provide a tiny bit of context just so our listeners have a full view on this. Basically, there's something in the realm of 5 or 6 plus allegations against Andrew Cuomo as of tonight.
10.
One of them,
10 total so far.
yeah, and one of them has been referred to the Albany police because it has risen to the level of in the moment criminal assault.
Oh boy.
And so one of those is getting investigated by local cops, and basically every New York politician that's a Democrat, and all the Republicans, of course, but every New York politician, all the the committee, all the committee chairs in the New York State Senate, House reps for the U.S. House rep AOC, both of the senators from the state are all calling on him to resign. He's just over allegations of sexual harassment and even assault. And
Right.
I think that the reason that he is staying on is that his term is up in 2022 anyway,
Yeah.
and he wants to just finish out his term. I mean, honestly, I think that he thinks that if he just keeps his head down enough or whatever, that it'll go away and that people will stop complaining about it.
Me? No, I'm not Andrew Cuomo.
That sounds
I'm...
like something one of his victims would say.
God.
Oh.
He shoots, he
Oh.
scores.
All joking aside, these sound like very serious allegations, but I am still thinking about Dante de Blasio in his room listening to bopping out to 100 gecs And then Bill comes in and he's like, "Is this 3-6 Mafia?" Okay, I'm sorry.
Didn't know that.
It's a good bit. I'm sorry.
It was fun. That was our first episode, wasn't it?
Was it our first episode? I don't even
That was our
remember.
first
Honestly, it was a
official
while
episode.
ago.
It was we were doing election coverage.
It was an election episode. I remember that.
Yeah, because we had Uncle Mal there. He hasn't been on in forever. He's a trip. I think
Yeah, well, I mean, that's how the pandemic is, right?
Yeah, it's sad. These memories.
Oh, hi, Cthulhu.
These memories that we cherish, like everything that happened before February.
I mean, like we are lucky. Like, okay, like we're doing this with like hardware that essentially the hardware and the software has become super powerful for these applications because of the thing. None of us have been completely fucked off like into absolute poverty by this in our real lives. Like, I don't want the listener to think that that we don't realize the luckiest sons of bitches alive to be sitting here cracking jokes and above ground and shit.
Don't.
Oh, yeah,
we
yeah.
know
envy
that
the
we're
dead.
the luckiest sons of bitches alive.
No, we envy the dead. That's our official show.
And
The
how?
official position.
The official position of the show is it's sad they died, but we also envy them because let's think
It's-
about it for a moment, Cap.
The
They're free.
sequel to the sequel
They're
to The Dead
free.
Hate the Living is The Living Hate the Dead. The sequel.
Yes.
It was less popular, it was less well known.
Yes. Come on. Come on.
Sweet, sweet non-existence.
You figure. Okay. You figure right now.
Come on, Mac.
What the dead have not had to live through was Cuomo winning an Emmy, and then for the past since
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. Yeah, they don't know what that means.
That is
Please
inevitably
clap.
the call that Biden is going to give Cuomo at some point, because
He's
you have to figure that at some point,
gonna
like,
come
with
on,
all
man,
of
that
this
motherfucker
other
into
political
resigning.
pressure,
I-
with all of this like parallel political pressure on Cuomo to resign and him refusing to do it, like at some point he's going to get the call from Biden, and Biden is like, come on, man, him, and I don't know. I think that's possible on some level.
I honestly don't think. I honestly think if Biden were to try to throw out Cuomo over this, he's just gonna drop the words Tara Reid and then just fucking stare at the phone. What do you
Yeah.
fucking think of that?
Yeah, again, the thing about it, of course, is that I don't. Again, there's there's a morality question to the
But
that
he's just
interaction.
gonna hide his. He's just gonna duck down and try to hide his head.
If I were Biden, I would because I wouldn't.
He's
want to
gonna do
make
the
Tara
same
Reid-
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
Well,
that's the
no,
move for them.
here's the thing,
That's
though.
the
There's
only move.
there's the like morality angle of this, but these people are fucking sharks, right?
yeah.
And they don't have like moral scruples in the same way that maybe like a normal person would. On
Yeah, you're
some
arguing
level, I
morality
think
with
with
Dracula.
you have to remember, like, everybody who's called on Cuomo to step down is doing it because they have like some sort of power interest in the NY governor's seat being filled by somebody else, right?
Right. Like,
And-
okay, like when they went after Franken, one of his main detractors was just another politician from his state, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh fuck, I can't remember who it was now. What was her name? Damn it, she was in the fucking primary too, just recently.
Only
Yeah,
at the top.
So I think that like if Biden were to call him and come on man him, it's not from some sort of like moral sense where he's like, listen, you can't sit in the seat because it's like bad for the soul of the case. No, it has nothing to do with why Biden would make that call. Because it would be because, they figure, hey, you know what? We can do a regime change in New York. New York is, of course, the second largest state in the country, and as an economy on its own, it's like California is the 7th largest economy in the world by itself, and New York is like 11th
Yeah.
or something. So, them replacing Cuomo, that chip, that shit's free money. They can, that's free political capital. They can replace him with somebody who will then owe them for that, and they love the idea of that.
Oh, liberals love taking a dive.
Yeah, no, and the other thing too about it that's so
Natural-born
funny
losers.
is that whatever debt they owe Cuomo for anything that he's ever done for them or other people, any people he stepped over and, like helped them out, done some like horse trading or whatever, that debt's wiped clean.
Yeah.
because he's fucked at this point. Whatever debts have been completely forgiven, and Cuomo has no leverage over them anymore. Getting him out of office is all gravy. It's all upside to these people. So yeah, at some point I think Biden is going to call him and be like, "Come on, man, you gotta step down, man."
Come on,
And
somebody-
People of the country, Max.
And you know what? I would just
you
like
and
to say,
Corn Pop both need to get it out of here.
he'll never kick away Corn Pop. What are you talking about?
First corn pop of the night.
Is it better or
course-
worse than a Hitler?
Oh, Corn Pop's way better.
Depends.
Depends on the goal.
on which version you're going
my
for
only
here.
further comment is that us joking about Cuomo being on the podcast or whatever, even though we really do have him live right now, is funny because honestly, his best pivot at this point is to become one of those canceled comedians. Is to just completely pivot into doing stand up, and he'd do great.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I want to just read this one quote. This very short. It's just like a sentence.
Okay.
Yeah, let me have it up. Okay, this is a quote from him. People know the difference between playing politics, bowing to cancel culture, and the truth. So he just said, I'm not going to bow to cancel culture.
Yeah.
Can you fucking imagine one of them saying that? This is like a quote from the Post, by the way, the Washington Post. Can you imagine a fucking Democrat saying that even a year ago? That is wild that any of them would say that
Dude,
shit.
people have beat the
fucking
term unhinged to death, but that is the most unhinged, fucking disconnected from reality fucking shit that anybody could ever say. What do you mean they know the fucking? No, they fucking don't. Those things are blended into fucking atoms at this point. That's like saying people know the difference between Operation Mindfuck and MK Ultra, okay? No, they fucking don't.
They really don't.
Holy shit. He said that shit. I trust the people to find the truth. Well, good luck, Andrew. I wish you well.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, they're fucking the depravity of the Democrats at times knows no fucking moral bounds. Absolutely
we're
none.
gonna get to see it. We're gonna get to see more because there's ladies out there with bullets, man. There's ladies out there with his shit in their phone right now.
Girl boss.
We're gonna get we're gonna get to read more old white people sending explicit texts with very weird language. We're gonna get to see more of everybody's favorite content. Oh man.
Military chicks.
Oh yeah.
It's just it is fucking incredible at times what they will let their politicians get away with, and what we're all supposed to just be like, this is normal, right?
Yeah. I thought they were going to drag Ed Buck out of his fucking house and make a big show out of that because it would have been a great
At this
opportunity.
point, everybody's just like, get the fuck out of my face.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I thought
But
I thought they were
ratings,
gonna
get
do a
the
few.
fuck out of my face right now.
What part of that aren't you fucking understanding? Get out of my face!
God, that is
Yeah.
so mind blowing though. Americans know the difference between cancel culture, the truth, and political gamesmanship or what
Now-
If
wow.
If you
Now
honestly
what
believe
fucking
that, you
world?
would not have ran on Trump as a fucking existential threat.
Yeah,
You-
Jesus
Well,
Christ.
You couldn't.
I would also point this out, and this is just speculation on my end, as to another reason that maybe he's holding on for dear hope. I believe that the New York State budget is due April 1st. And now remember what I said about New York. It's the 11th largest economy in the world. And you can split hairs about if that's just because of New York City or if that's because of the whole state, but he's the governor, so some of the things that matter with his decision making, if the MTA functions, the fucking most important transit network in the world, all sorts of Wall Street subsidies, all sorts of real estate taxes for the most expensive property. I mean, just any he essentially determines that, and I think that I can't speculate exactly on what it is, but I think on some level he's holding out just to exert power over the budget one last time, so that he can, I don't know, go on fucking speaking tours when he resigns.
Yeah.
And then on some level he's like, okay, you know what? They're not going to impeach me before April 1st, so I'm just gonna fucking run ramshot on the budget, so that when I do step down, at least I can make bank for the rest of my life doing fucking speaking tours or whatever. That's my speculation.
It's so mind blowing to me because they'll idolize anybody at this point. Like I was behind the scenes, everyone. Earlier tonight, I was listening to one of his little press conferences because we were trying to determine who could do like a passable Cuomo, and I'm listening to it and I'm looking at his dumb fucking face, and just there's no charisma at all coming from this motherfucker, and all I could think was, if I try to do this guy's voice, I'm gonna do a McGruff the Crime Dog voice, just like from looking at his face too much. Like I'm gonna be like, okay, like it's not gonna work because it's just like, where is the charisma? This guy, like, there's nothing, and yet they're gonna be like, oh no, this is a guy. This is one of our guys. This is a real guy. He did real good things.
A cracker?
I mean, like. He's definitely, yes, he's the like sort of generic middle space of influential, powerful white man who just abandons all charisma, who is just like, no, the power is enough now, the money is enough now. Your friend is hotter than you, and I need you to ask your friend something for me. Like, I'm just gonna tell you directly.
He naturally turns, looks at you, and says, "I'm gonna make your babies cry."
Oh God!
Your friend is hotter than you. Could I have her phone number?
Yes, just
So
like directly asking.
Wink, wink.
May I try to sex your friend? Would that be appropriate?
She doesn't want the innuendo to like interfere with the message he's trying to get across.
Hey baby, I am governor of New York.
I don't know if you're familiar with my work, my Emmy-winning work as governor of New York.
Jesus Christ, that.
It's just fucking so dark.
What did he win the Emmy for?
Dark.
He won
His
the
fucking press conference.
yeah.
Like seriously, what the fuck?
Oh, you ready? Hold on. From NPR. Andrew Cuomo to receive International Emmy for masterful COVID-19 briefings.
Masterful. Wow. Yeah.
Oh,
masterful.
Christ.
Listen.
Masterful.
Listen, I'd like to give you a read of one of my favorite briefings.
Oh, Jesus.
Hello, everyone. I know that Trump has doo-doo on his ass. I don't. I'm a handsome Italian man who talks like he's lucid because I've been doing poppers all night.
You kids don't know what poppers are, but if you tell your hot friend to come over later, I'll explain it to her.
If you talk about your goddamn grandparents in the nursing home one more time, I will have my mafia friends put cement shoes on you and dump you in the East River. I will have you turned into mulch and have you raising vegetables at one of New York's Emmy-worthy farms. Also, did anybody ever tell you that you are hotter than my friend Lisa, who I thought was the hottest girl in the world?
Just like hotter than my friend Lisa is the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
I'm telling y'all, there's girls out there that got bullets in their phones, man. We're gonna get to see way better shit than hotter than my friend Lisa. I bet. I hope.
Yeah.
I pray.
Oh my God. And also, did you know that you're old enough for me and that I am lonely? Come hang out with me. Again, I'm still more lucid than Doodoo Butt, the president.
Either of them.
Either of them. Yeah, unfortunately.
Just the notion that like somehow he isn't just the mirror or just the exact same person as Trump. Like honestly, on some level, you in New York, and from kind of exactly the same necessarily, but Cuomo is just what Trump would have been if Trump.
You guys are real bad tonight.
He basically, no, you're right, because Trump basically said it. Trump was basically like, oh, these people are all idiots, and I could run as a Democrat, I could run as a Republican. Ah, these dipshits, like, he basically said that shit in an old interview anyway, years ago.
That is not actually true. That
Yeah.
is.
Oh, really?
that
Oh,
is
shit.
video. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that,
I absolutely abhor being fair to that man.
I'm sorry that I put you in that position.
he
So
well, you're
I
not being,
appreciate the
sorry.
apology for it.
I'm sorry that I put you in that position, but your friend, I would put her in that position anytime.
There we go. That was a literal quote from Andrew Cuomo.
to be fair, like Trump couldn't have said that because he's simply not smart enough to have said that.
Yeah. That would
guess you're
imply
right,
that
yeah.
Trump actually considered the possibility of running before he
'Cause
ran.
now that I think about it, it's like the story about him punching the kid. It's like the story about him punching Junior or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like at first you hear it and you're like, "Oh, that piece of shit," and then later you're like, "He wouldn't use his hand to strike a human that's made of like solid
He would
matter."
pay someone
His
else to
fucking
do it.
hand would fucking hand would fall off. Like he's not. He doesn't do any work. He doesn't have a physical composition.
It would just be like a wet, loose slap. Like
Just like sloppy
really-
tentacle.
He really did hit his kid though.
like a floppy.
Like
Like I'm trying to picture it, and it's
Yikes.
like I can believe that it happened, but not in the way like if somebody was like, "Oh, he punched," like he left a mark. Like, no, I don't believe that, but I do believe. I'm willing to believe that he sort of limply slapped him.
So you don't think he went full Bart Simpson?
No, I don't think
No way.
no.
You
No
didn't
way.
Think, you didn't think he didn't drop those elbows on him?
He
Little
can't
motherfucker.
put-
Like, "Hey, little
he can't-
motherfucker, up."
He can't put. Hey, here's one for the libs in the audience. He can't get his tiny hands around the motherfucker's neck. Oh! Small hands. I hate that they killed that joke so dead, because the small hands thing actually is funny if you read like he wrote all those nasty letters to like the guy that said the small fingered Bulgarian thing. He wrote like nasty letters to that guy for years. Like,
Yeah.
my hands are normal. Like,
I'm a big boy. I have big boy hands. I have a big boy penis. It's
It's all
definitely
big.
what did the lady that totally ceased to exist just recently? What did she say, that it was like a Toad from the Mushroom Kingdom? That it was like a little mushroom penis?
Oh yeah, she said it was like a chode.
That's a good thing when that happens. When, you know, you get to like, God, now I'm the lib. I'm like, yeah, you hear about the president's penis? Why can't things just be normal again? Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was, yeah, reality warping to see that happen.
Well, now the libs, of course, you know, to be fair, I think maybe the thing that we got the most wrong is that the libs are just obsessed with sex, because now instead of like
Yes.
thinking about Biden, instead of talking about Trump's penis, they're just talking about whether or not like you know, Biden just have.
You guys- hey, you are cutting real bad, guys. I want to give you a heads up. I don't know what's going on with the audio.
Am I cutting?
Yeah.
I blame our
Oh,
CIA
here, let me-
handlers.
Oh,
Here,
always
let me drop in
fun.
and out.
Yeah, because I want to hear that point.
Cutting like
One second.
you're cutting like Cuomo trying to cut at least his friend's house. Hang on. Am I coming in?
Well, you were mangled earlier,
No.
but that's a say it again.
Only True was cutting out in and out for me. That was
Yeah.
it.
Shit.
You were cutting out earlier, but you're not now. And then John, you were just cutting out right there. The Eaton and Cenk, you guys have been fine.
But yeah, the thing I was going to say is that now instead of us hearing about Trump's penis and Stormy Daniels or whatever,
Yes.
it's like the thing we hear people that Jill and have, and like how they definitely sleep. If any of that matters in any real capacity, like whether or not, like I don't know, like it is just very dumb. And
I'm still getting cutting out from you, but I'm just going to assume that it's like censorship. It's like
Makes it
whatever,
way funnier.
whatever you said about Jill Biden swamp crouching around the Oval Office trying to drag Joe into a broom closet. Like, I'm just going to assume that it was so horrific that it was censored.
I mean, I gotta be honest right here. You just can't drop that many N bombs, dude. Like 0 is the
0 is the number.
1000% none of that.
Dan
Yeah.
broke the mute button. He's just smashing the mute button.
Yeah, I've been
Oh,
hit
whoa,
my
whoa,
finger
whoa,
hurts.
whoa.
My finger
Since when
hurts.
has rules stopped white people?
Yeah. But he's doing rules always
Hey,
get in our way.
My finger hurts. That's what Joe Biden said on inauguration night.
Heyo.
Again, hold on, HR break, guys. We need to take a 5. John and True, could you join me over here in the HR corner?
Yeah, okay. It's about we're doing too many of the Cuomo jokes.
I mean, all I'm gonna say is this: literally, if you're getting called to the HR corner, maybe stop saying the N-word.
Okay, all
Okay.
right.
Don't
But I
don't just
I hate-
spam N-words because you're like, well, I'm gonna get in trouble anyway with the boss.
I hate Cuomo so much, though. I mean, my hatred for him is singular and pure and objectively based on the fact that he specifically sucks. I mean, it's not.
Okay, you
It's
can't
definitely
call,
not part.
but you can't call Cuomo the N-word. Okay.
But okay,
see
but
the
I hate him
problem
so
is-
much. But this isn't one of those things where I'm just like doing it for a reason. Like I hate that guy. Like okay, it's not part of anything broader or systemic. Like I hate that motherfucker. Like he has sucked
okay.
since the day they put him in.
And listen, nobody's more Cuomophobic than I am. Okay.
Whoa.
Hey, whoa. We're gonna have an HR meeting for you interrupting other people's HR meetings.
Whoa. He's rich. Come on, bro.
Exactly.
You guys just can't.
Hate him specifically in a specific objective way.
You see, this is what you're doing right now. You're just saying the N-word
See-
so much the stream is just too
You
completely.
sound like ass.
Yeah. The stream is nuking you. I don't know if there's somewhere else you could go, perhaps, that you wouldn't say the N-word so much, but wherever you're at, it's just making you say it.
No, I understand. I understand where you're coming from.
Mhm.
But
Naggers?
this is this is a specific dislike of Andrew Cuomo, the governor of New York, that I have, and it's not based on anything other than just how bad that he sucks. It's
I know it,
specific.
but I don't think I'm allowed to say it.
I hear you, and I see you. I respect that you hate Andrew Cuomo, but just like that guy on Twitter who's like, why don't we just start calling them the N-word? I know your heart's in the right place. Please stop. Please. I know it's not coming from a place of hate or malice. I know it's not coming from a place of anything but anti-Italian racism, which is ambiguous on this podcast. Please stop. Please.
I like
Although-
meatballs.
Let's change the subject. I mean, I hate that motherfucker, but like, let's change the subject. Like, maybe that'll help me stop saying so many slurs about him. Like, okay,
Yeah.
did you guys like everybody was like, okay, last year and everything, like, last year was like so bad, like, or it was so good, and now everything's so bad, and they're all posting all this stuff like last March and everything. Okay, like I looked at a clip from last March from the primary, and this dog shit news anchor, just dog shit, just the worst I've ever seen, was on CNN just like moderating or doing nothing.
Yeah.
During this clip of one of the Biden staffers and Nina Turner like explaining like MLK to her. It was a white woman explaining it to her. Like she was very offended. This anchor, I don't know who the fuck he was, but he's so fucking terrible. I hate him almost as much as I hate Andrew Cuomo.
How terrible was he?
He was really, really fucking terrible. He just stared like a fucking turnip into the camera as a thing that he was ostensibly supposed to be in control of, like it was his professional job to do it. Just melted down all around him. It was like it kind of reminded me of the way that the governor of New York has handled the pandemic, really. Just kind of staring straight ahead and thinking about Lisa's hot friend and just not doing anything, really. Like, who is that guy? Why is he so fucking bad at everything? Like,
Same kind of ooze, huh?
does anybody
Ivan's ooze?
Does anybody know who that news anchor is that I'm talking about? Like, because
give him the goo.
No,
He
I
can't be
don't know.
related to a serial
Something.
sexual assaulter. There's no way.
I'm gonna look this guy up. I'm gonna look this guy up.
Okay, while
See
you
what this
do that
guy's
and you
name
prepare
is.
for the episode where we're talking about Nina Turner, we're gonna go back to talking about Cuomo.
Oh my god! Hang on. Oh my god! This says that guy's name is Chris Cuomo. Oh my
What?
god!
Oh my God! Are you making fun of my brother, who's
You
here
guys-
tonight?
Hey,
guys,
hey,
it's true.
hey.
You guys, it's true. I am Cuomophobic.
Yeah.
You guys, it's not just Andrew. I don't like any of them.
It's
It is systemic.
It's the only phobia we allow on the podcast, so you're good.
You guys, how long have I been like this?
Since at least 2019.
Guys, I'm gonna need some kind of
sometimes
therapy.
you have predispositions when you're younger and no one tells you, but
This is
it's
where
there.
this
It's
is where-
there.
Oh God.
You could
This is
be
where-
8 years old and a whole ass racist.
No,
I mean,
it's
homophobe.
Try to look at that person's face and not feel good. That's okay.
Yeah. Oh man. See, I wanted to bring that up during the Nina Turner episode. But yeah,
Homophobic
that's fine.
8-year-olds.
Yeah, we can punch Chris Cuomo in the face too. That son of a bitch bringing fucking Andrew on to talk about the fucking nose swabs.
Oh God.
That was
Oh hell.
Ma
Oh,
would say, quit shoving the crayon in your ass. And I would say, but Ma, how else am I going to make it come out of my nose? It's a magic trick. And she would say, why do you have crayons up your nose and in your ass? And she figured it out. She's a smart broad. For a woman, she's pretty smart.
Didn't wax for a week.
I feel like even if there's no audio of him saying broad, I feel like he probably says broad like all the time. Like it's not the most offensive thing you could say, but he probably loves to say it.
He says
That's
broad.
broad. He says it like weird too. It just can't just be like a regular broad. He's gonna be like broad. This is broad.
Yeah. So, John, any other specific portions that you want to tackle? Because politically, I do agree. I concur that he's just really trying to ride it out so he can just be like, look, they tried to cancel me. Now I wrote another book about cancel culture. I'm going to be richer than ever.
Well, I mean, we could talk about the coffee spoony stuff if you wanted to talk about like specific discourse or whatever.
Oh,
I don't know
this
if you're feeling
yeah.
that necessarily tonight.
This is one of those things that happened on Twitter where, okay, like, you guys will tell me the name of an account that I've never heard of before, and I'll be like, let's go see what's happening over here. Like a
oh
complete
God,
idiot.
was that your first experience with coffee
Yes.
spoony?
Like, just
I'm
every
so
time-
sorry.
Every time that happens, just imagine like a cartoon of a guy like walking into a fucking bear trap, just like, oh no.
we can, because there is an overarching, there is kind of a theme here between those two, actually, right?
Yeah.
It is this idea of individual moral supremacy. In that,
Also good.
which, if we look at Cuomo's situation, what did the libs give him, right? They kind of carte blanche gave him individual moral supremacy over everybody because they were like, this is
We
the
gave you
president we need.
power.
Well, not only power, the power is a reward, if you will, for this public persona of individual moral superiority. And
Right.
if you just start peeling back the layers on it, what you really have is somebody who's honestly a bit craven. In the case of Cuomo, more craven than Coffee Spoony, right? If we're going to be real. Lot
Yeah.
more craven.
Oh, absolutely.
But there's still this idea of a singular moral authority that like is dominant, and there's a lot of hypocrisy built into their social premise, right?
Mhm.
In the case of Cuomo, it's I'm better than Trump. I touch their lower backs. I put my hands on their face to try to kiss them. I said they look cute.
Lesser of
Then
two
I grab
evils.
them by the pussy.
I
Lesser of
don't
two
grab their
evils.
pussies. I don't rape them.
You grab,
to-
you grab the
grab their
boobs.
chest
You grab
instead.
their boobs.
I grab their lower backs and ask them if they will have sex with me because I'm sad and lonely. I don't grab them by the pussy and then buy them a couch.
I'm sure they love him at parties.
Yeah. Oh, everybody loves the fucking. The dude basically listens to Morrissey. If you really boil it down, like it's a Morrissey fan in a nutshell. Every Morrissey fan is just touching women's lower backs and trying to kiss them and telling them how hot they are compared to their hot.
Every
friends.
straight Morrissey.
Do you do
listener.
yoga?
He's like
Yeah.
he's telling like some 18-year-old girl at a party about the lyrics of "World Peace is none of your business" or whatever. He's like-
Yeah.
It's a
Okay,
good song.
Grandpa.
So we can touch on a little bit of our John and I love this lady because she speaks for us deep down, really.
Yeah,
Outside of
Jews.
gender and sexuality.
Remember fidget spinners?
Yeah, I would like to tie them together and kind of get this. So let's go ahead and let's just peek at our good friend Coffee Spoonie.
Pull it up right now. Just put whatever the latest and greatest is right in your
That's
eyeballs.
what I'm trying to find a really.
Just hurt
So
yourself.
yeah,
Just do that.
I have it brought up in chat. Do you want let's see. I have the stuff she was linking to. Let's see if I can find the actual post that she made. Yeah, she was recently she was going on a tirade about Marianne Williamson.
Yes.
So-
Holy moly, that's a lot of allegations. I didn't see them all on the list.
So now, of course, here's the thing. There's two things to remember about Spoonie here. This particular tirade about Williamson, I want to make clear, we're not caping for Williamson necessarily, and allegations of her being ableist kind of fall into two camps. But let's back it up a little bit to give a little bit of history on Spoonie in the first place. Spoonie famously had a Twitter tirade at an Uber driver. And Dan, would you like to explain what happened in this situation? Because I think you brought it to our attention first.
The Uber driver?
Yeah.
My favorite story from the Queen.
Mm-hmm.
So, Coffee Spoonie, this story really tells you whether or not you believe in quote-unquote class-first politic or identity politic, or if you have a Marxist analysis, okay? Because I fall in the third camp. So what Coffee Spoonie and several other people came forward with was basically, essentially the narrative always goes like this. I'm a disabled person. I have special requirements. Such as primarily mobility issues. I'm either wheelchair bound to some sort of crutch system, or I'm in severe pain when I move, or I'm missing a limb and I have all sorts of mobility problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I just happen to have my prosthetic. Maybe my prosthetic in that limb is not feeling very good and I really can't walk, or it's just difficult to walk that far, right? And I live in a major city in some sort of apartment complex, somewhere high, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the premise to all of these stories. Coffee Spoonie is one of my favorite representations of it, but there are frankly a ton of them. Okay. I think my ultimate favorite was I can only get around on a rascal, right? Because the idea of just loading up a rascal into an elevator every time is a little bit bemusing to me. Like, you really are just occupying a shit ton of space, Maybe the first floor is for you, right? Not the 19th. So, all right. So Coffee describes that she has purchase food from something like Uber Eats, pick one of those, right? Because again, the story, the allegation is always against a different company and a different nameless driver, but it's always the same narrative, right? And essentially what it boils down to is they put in a special request. You have to come all the way into my apartment and come all the way up to my door and then knock and then wait for me to answer to deliver the food. And the driver always comes to the front of the apartment, knocks on the door, calls up to their apartment and says, look, I got your food. I can't come in the building. There's insurance reasons that I can't come into that building. The company will not insure me past this point, and I don't have.
You sure they don't just throw the food at the door and run away?
No, I'm going from the narrative. I'm going from the narratives they tell, right? So the narrative they tell every time is that the company's insurance will not cover me to come in, because there's a protracted argument going on. You come up here, no, you come down here, and then they face off, and they're like, and then every time it's, look, I'm disabled, you're gonna have to come up here, right? And to the driver, it's like, I delivered the food to the address, I don't know what you want, and then they leave, right? And then the narrative is always basically that they got that driver fired, which is supposed to be a social threat against other Uber Eats drivers and a pity party, right? If I'm being rude and blunt, it's a pity party. That's why you're putting this out in public, is because you're like, you basically want to brag that you flexed and got somebody fired. You Karen'd out and you want to brag about it, right? That's ultimately.
Yeah. I am the Uber Karen.
Yeah. So
like it's like less horrible than just like wild Karen wandering a dog park and just fucking attacking me.
It's just as fucking terrible. It's the same fucking emotion. It's literally the same thing.
The problem is, right, I don't, in that particular story, it's not that I lack empathy for the person telling the story. In this specific case, we're talking about Coffee Spoonie, right? I can completely empathize with mobility problems. I have trouble getting up and down stairs because of my right leg, especially when it's flaring up. Like tonight, it's pretty good, but that doesn't mean it's always going to be pretty good, and I'm going to have problems. And I imagine her mobility problems are more severe than mine. So it's not that I lack empathy on it, right?
But it's not about the empathy for the problem. The problem isn't that. The problem is the way you fucking reacted to being a fucking monster.
Well, hold on. I also have empathy. I also have empathy
Like-
for the Uber driver. I'm not calling her a fucking monster. The way she presents it though is she is flexing about the fact she got this person fired, which is
Yeah,
wrong.
don't worry. I don't mind calling her a fucking monster.
Libertarians, monsters are people too.
But again, I have a Marxist critique. I don't have I'm not just out to get Coffee Spoonie. There is a problem here that I really want to address with her existence, right? Not call her a piece of shit.
Please tell me about your final solution.
Oh, you just did it, Hitler. So,
Knife
There's
and
the
fork?
first one of the night, people.
yeah, that isn't the first. Keep going. So then we look at the situation of the driver. The driver is probably not lying. The company probably barely insures them as is. And then to go into that private person's apartment and then risk accusations of sexual assault, which Uber is notorious for hiring sexual predators, it would be very easy for somebody more disingenuous than Coffee Spoonie, at all, right? If we use her as an icon for this behavior, it would be very easy for them to say he assaulted me or anything like that. If you put the bag in their hand, if you left it on the floor in front of them, it would be very easy to make that secondary claim because there are no witnesses, and Uber is absolutely going to just basically turn you over to the cops, right?
I mean, really, like it's partially their fault too, because like that's the worst name for anything. That's the worst branding. I mean, like speaking of final solutions, like if that happens and the headline reads Uber predator assaults, like okay,
Yes.
like it's literally the worst fucking name for anything ever.
Right.
You want
So-
you want the food? Crawl around on the floor and bark like a dog.
Yeah. So the most common and like let's imagine that driver is say a black person or a Latino person. How easy is it for a white woman or a Jewish woman with white skin, or a light-skinned Asian, or even a light-skinned black woman to make the accusation that this Uber Eats person who pissed me off a moment ago tried to molest me or tried to assault me, right? How easy would it be? So they're primed to think that that's possible because, like, if you look at Uber, there's an awful lot of rich women who get assistance getting in and out of a vehicle, especially while intoxicated, and there's even videos of it, and they're alleging that they've been assaulted, which muddies the water because there are vastly more women who've been assaulted in the back of a fucking Uber because the driver's a rapist, right? So
He's
we have
an Uber rapist.
an Uber rapist. So we have
It's not a good name for a company, folks.
No.
I'm just not.
So, like, we have layers of problems going on here. There are all sorts of interplays of really bad shit, right? So, taking to the internet and basically outing or not outing this person, however you want to kind of describe that, but taking to the internet to be like, look, if you fuck with me, I'm going to get you fired, and knowing that those people make like $1 a fucking delivery, right? That really looks like shit. That really is like, I will fucking can the hired help if they don't know their place in society. But there's
Thus,
also,
my continued statement of that person's a fucking monster.
it's a dick
This is
move.
basically when a monster meets a monster.
Yeah.
Godzilla when Godzilla meets King Kong.
And
Listen, a monster can have a tragic backstory too. Just look at Frankenstein.
I don't like the idea of painting her as
Yeah.
a monster per se, but it's still legitimately problematic.
Don't worry, I got my brush out.
You can
Sympathetic villain.
all hate mail can go to jankengels@gmail.com. Subject line death to Jank.
Yep.
He'll know why.
I actually set up a subroutine where my printer will print it and directly deposit it into a shredder.
Yeah.
Just right under.
And then I set up a secondary subroutine that will just cause a robot to paint his house with those words. So you'll get your message through. But like the real problem here going on is if we have
Tommy,
this
that's
company-
a hateful house.
It is. It is. It's worse than mine though. Mine's set up to say "Death to America," and the robot just keeps going. Never stops
can have
the
the-
hate mail.
We can have the letters printed on some custom flags from the flag store that I saw today.
Yeah, right. Those were beautiful flags, especially that blue
Yeah,
and
they
white one.
They
Why
have
are they,
all.
how many fucking conservative battle flags do they need?
They,
I
you
don't
can
know,
get
one for
all
each
the
one.
flags
Well,
there.
you need to win a war first to have a battle flag.
I know, right?
Otherwise,
How many goddamn?
surrender flags.
Those are all
Yeah.
the flags, you guys. That's all the flags that there are available at that one store. Just those. That's
were-
all the flags that exist.
And they were all beautiful. But what we have, really, if we're going to start peeling back the layers on this onion, right? What we have is a problem where we have an exploitative company underpaying somebody grossly and doing everything in their power off the stolen profits to defend their right to pay somebody $1 an hour. So, problem numero uno. Problem number two is because they're not insuring them properly, they have no incentive to actually help people who might actually need legitimate help having food delivered. Because again, I can empathize with mobility issues, right? It's not that hard. That's
Sure, let me be clear.
reasonable.
That woman is not a monster for having mobility issues. She's
No.
a monster for how she reacts to an underpaid worker not being able to do the task that she designates him able to do.
Right. So again, what we have is Coffee Spoonie has the identitarian angle. My disability supersedes every other thing going on in the scenario. Cenk is doing an excellent job at showing a class reductionist argument.
Yes, surprisingly.
You were the
go.
last person I thought was going to make the Yucca analysis of it, right? You're the
I mean,
last-
like, okay, like maybe it's not monster versus monster. Maybe it's two individuals exhibiting monstrous behavior,
perhaps
like at the same time.
Sure. If I want to be like more in depth with it and like not super reductive about everything, I could say, these people were put in situations in which they display tendencies that are very negative for both themselves and society at a whole.
Yeah.
Or
I mean,
I
like,
could just shortchange
And-
my thinking and just say that they're being fucking monsters.
it's funny that you just went from the Maoist
Or you could be,
principle.
or you could be reactionary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the identitarian angle actually is the reactionary angle because it's just based on knee-jerk, visceral. I think they hate something about my identity, so now I'm going to attack. That's
Yeah.
so we
And
have
my fifis.
it's just really
Yeah.
funny, Cenk, that you just went through and did both the Maoist argument and then went right into the proper Marxist critique, which is the system is so fucked up that there's this incentivization from both people to act completely shitty. Like
But we know
that's
we know all the
amazing. I am
styles now.
teaching you so
He
well.
edgelords.
Yeah.
we know all the
Already
styles
knew all
now.
of that. It's just it's listen. If you don't see that this system is the way that it is, you have fucked up somewhere in your observations. Once again, Cenk would not choose capitalism were he designing an economic system from the ground up.
We're so close with you. We're
We're
close.
here though, and we've got it. So we've got to fucking deal with it. So maybe
I-
stop
We have ways
abusing-
of dealing with it. Would you like to sidetrack that? The four of us
So
would
maybe
deal with it.
instead of trying to abuse your poor fucking Uber driver in a situation in which he also is a fucking loser in the situation, maybe, just maybe, we could come together as a fucking society and do a little bit better for each other.
Well,
That is capitalism.
nope.
yeah, I mean,
But
I-
no, go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
no, I mean, the thing I was gonna say is mostly that I don't like. I feel less. How do I put this? I blame her less than maybe this, but I basically don't blame in that isolated thing. I don't blame the Uber driver or the Uber Eats person like even a tiny bit. I don't think he's at fault even a slight amount. Whereas I think she's at fault, but maybe not. I wouldn't call her a monster.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not really exactly
Unfair.
like she lived in one of those buildings. There's usually somebody who like works the front desk at one of those buildings. She probably could have just asked that person to like bring it up or whatever.
Yeah, but the problem with this, right, is
She
what
chose
we're not,
not to,
what we're
and
not
then-
observing is all the previous buildup and Karenness, right? Where the
Yeah.
fucking front door worker fucking hates this bitch because she's a fucking
Holy
bitch to him every
shit.
time she waddles through the fucking door.
Oh,
I mean, that
She's
sounds
just a
right.
fucking monster to
Wow,
every
Whoa.
dude,
fucking
you're
human
really
being
doing the
that's here to
Hitler
help
tonight,
her.
man.
Rather
it
than
sounds-
view the people around her as a source for like joy or help or good, she'd rather just assume that they have the worst fucking intentions possible for her and just continue to abuse these underpaid fucking workers that work around her.
It sounds strong, but as a former service worker in several different things.
Oh
and
yeah, can you
ways that
tell I
can-
cooked in kitchen?
Yes. Yeah, I can because it sounds really strong, but what happens is when you have repeat
he has
customers,
that perfect lack of giving a damn.
when
Yeah,
you
can you
have
tell that
repeat
I spent
customers,
9 years in kitchens?
No.
yes, because when you have a repeat customer, you always see them in the same mode. You always see them come through the front door of your establishment, and they prepare to do the same thing that they always do every time that they're there.
Yo,
which
do they
is-
look like that kind of person who's gonna come in and make trouble? Because you can see him a mile away.
Yeah,
You can
and I got
assume
news for
stuff.
you. It's never the black people.
Yeah, never. It's the white people, but you
Always old white women.
and you can assume stuff about the rest of their day, but maybe they're an asshole like some other time, but it really doesn't matter because the forefront of your consciousness, what you're really thinking about when you see them coming is, oh God, she's gonna do exactly what she always does. Like
That's the
it's gonna
result
be
of that marital rape in the morning.
it's you God.
I don't think she's married.
Oh, believe me, she's not.
You start
Hey,
to expect
cats count too.
you start to expect, and rightfully because you're usually correct, you start to expect an escalation of behaviors based on however their last visit or appointment or whatever went. You start to expect, like, okay, last time she said that there was too much dressing. So this time, when we only put a little bit of dressing on her salad, she is going to call us cheap and say that we're trying to withhold dressing from her.
Yep.
Like you know the whole thing before it even happened.
Yeah, again,
and-
it's not that particular instance. It's the fact that you know that she was fucking miserable to every human being. So like even the door person won't fucking help her out by bringing the fucking food up to her.
Well,
I have gotten so far in my life just by being overly nice to as many people as possible. Like
Oh,
you're
God,
on the
yes.
phone with the help desk. Might as well fucking be nice to them.
And it's
You're
fucking
on
free.
the phone with anyone.
It's so fucking free and so easy. So why wouldn't you do it, right?
It really is.
I want you to know something. You know how my take is sympathetic in that, like, maybe the system is the problem and really the participants are not the problem. I want you to understand, I got banned and called an ableist bigot for that. For the critique that it is the system's fault. I want you to know how pathetic identitarians are.
Good.
Like
Have
when
you considered that you might be wrong and I'm right in this case?
Well, you definitely are closer to where I would be. You are definitely closer where I would be if I did not have the Marxist critique. But I want you to understand something. I have really eaten shit for the take of maybe it was the system and maybe we shouldn't be overplaying this or supporting getting random people fired for just like not being insured, like not taking high risks at work. Like maybe we shouldn't incentivize people to just like do that.
You know, that's what's so weird about it. Like speaking of Uber and how fucking awful it is, they went to all this trouble and Prop 22 and all this to make these motherfuckers contractors. But
to keep
like
them contractors. Yeah.
Shouldn't a motherfucker who is a contractor, shouldn't he be able to just be like, nope, like he really can't though, because he still doesn't know anything about the pickup, or
because he is able to say nope. He's just not able to say nope to the social contract that we've all already agreed to by existing.
Yes, like if he really was a contractor, he would be able to like spread the word amongst all the other contractors that like, you know, this is a bad account. Like it doesn't matter. We need to be protected somehow against our 1-star rating that she's going to give us or whatever. Like, but they don't. Like they have to capitulate to that, like in order to still, you know, get the good rating and, you know, be treated well by Uber and shit.
I mean, in this specific instance, once that transaction begins, basically once she orders the food, you know, you figure the person getting a 1-star, and functionally they're all getting fired.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I guess she's gonna drop a fucking 1-star on them regardless.
Yeah.
I guess like that's what's gonna happen.
And like anything less than a 5-star is basically just you get reviewed to see if you should be fired or not.
Yeah.
Like that's just how it functionally works.
The
so
moment
like
until they see the name and then they're like, ha 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 ha, yeah, throw that shit out.
Oh yeah, Jamal's definitely getting fired.
Well, that would happen if you were. That would happen if you were at. Funny enough, like everybody shits and rags on normal pizza places and normal food delivery places, but if you were actually an employee, the chances that they would see like, oh, it was this user, fuck it, doesn't even matter. She's gonna give everybody a 1 star. Just go back to work. You know,
Like in a way, it's almost more. It's like an evolution of like the old customer service type relationship where it almost never was the same. Like okay, like I saw some weird shit today that was more of this like two different people being monstrous in a different way from different sides of the service counter or whatever. I saw some shit like this today at the little gas station next to the flag store. Okay,
Oh, that's
okay,
a gas
so
station. You're getting that all day.
so we're
Yeah.
we're driving in the mountains. We're having a lovely time, and my spouse and I are like, let's have a quaint ice cream at the gas station in the Appalachians. Let's have some quaint double dip happy cones of joy and love, right? So she comes back out and she says, okay, you're gonna want to go in there and film this because they're having a mask fight. And I'm like, no, it's March 2021. Nobody's having mask fights anymore. That shit has been over. But I go in there, and I didn't film it because I didn't want to get, I didn't want to spook the NPCs or whatever. But like, the fucking Skyrim music starts playing and they chase you for picking up a bucket or whatever. I didn't want to spook the NPCs. But I
My
go
new
in there.
favorite YouTube channel, by the way, is it's the Oblivion background music. Someone's
Oh.
like pre-programmed like ESL videos to like look like it was coming out of Oblivion or Morrowind.
Oh
It's
God, yes, those are
phenomenal.
so good. Yes, I 100% endorse those. If anybody listening has not seen that shit,
Bing.
but it was that in real life. It was a woman, obviously of a liberal persuasion, driving through the state on the scenic Appalachian highways, is loosely holding a mask sort of partially over her mouth, comes into the store, sees that no one is wearing masks that is running the store or shopping in the store, except me, standing there with my mask on, like, oh, it's still a plague. It's hell world. I do this for work. I don't care. I fall asleep with this on, like, because I'm over it. I wear the fucker because it's easier to wear the fucker than to not wear the fucker, and so she's got it barely on her face anyway, and she's pissed off at them because none of them are wearing it. And the consensus from the clerk is that, like, it's a private business, and we've joked before on the show about, well, Governor Henry McMahon, I'm just a simple country. Nikki ran off and left me holding the whole state. I can't make nobody wear no mask. I'm not in charge of nothing. Okay, well, so we've
Nick is
done
out
that.
in Europe.
She done left me, and I can't run none of this shit. I got this office. It's got a desk in there. None of it says anything about making somebody wear a mask. You can't make them. They gonna take them off when you turn your back. Like, we've done that bit, but so there is no statewide mask mandate, and everybody's just looking at her like, well, what do you want, man? Like, you have yours. Like, you're doing the thing. Nobody in here is doing the thing. Like, what do you want? And she's like, this is terrible. I'm never shopping here again. Which is ridiculous to say that she's never shopping here again, because it's the first time she's ever been there, and it probably would never drive through that exact route. It's not like it's going to be a regular stop for her. She's not on a work commute or anything like that. And then after she leaves, after she does liberal monstrous behavior to like everyone within earshot, then a couple of like, sons or uncles or cousins or all three, a couple of them are like chucking each other on the shoulder and chewing on the little wheat strands and tugging at their overalls with their thumbs and shit, just shirtless in overalls. Just picture that. That works for an image. And tugging on their overalls straps with their thumbs, and they're saying, well, she ought to get on out of here before somebody beats her ass. And I'm just like,
yeah, buddy. That's happening.
I wanted so badly to just be like, she's still pumping her gas. You guys want to go out there, tune that bitch up right quick, like, because they
ass, and then Cuomo walks in excited.
she wasn't gonna do anything about the mask thing. She was just gonna cry about it and then leave. And they weren't gonna beat a woman's ass in broad daylight over nothing. Even next to that ridiculous flag store, that wasn't gonna happen. Even in that place and time. And it's just monstrous people talking all this shit about the way that they behave in this customer service place. And I think I think the Marxist critique, it holds up. I think it's at the heart of it all. The guy behind the counter is just shrugging and just looking so tired.
If
And
it holds up, it's science.
the
Yeah, no, I mean,
hillbilly,
ultimately, it's not that guy's fault that it's not that guy's fault that they aren't wearing the masks, because they need that kind of thing needs to be compelled by the state, at least in the situation that we're in.
Yeah.
Jesus
They
Christ.
need the coverage of being able to be like, well, I'd love to tell you you don't have to, but the state says you gotta, so.
yeah, or
Yeah.
something, some framework of a society undergirding the behavior of the citizenry, like something.
You should make them say Big Daddy instead of the state.
I can't even say stuff that I want to say stuff that my boss at work says every morning, but I can't do spoilers for the next episode of my show.
Yeah. Now,
Any-
John, you were talking about the Marianne Williamson part. Now, what I'm talking about is very old, probably about 3 years now. 2 or
Yeah.
3 years.
Yeah, she's still around.
Oh yeah, Coffee Spitty's still alive and well. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about the Marianne Williamson situation, because this one was.
So this is
Ugh.
like a common critique that people have of Williamson from the disabled community. Like, Spoonie's not the first person to express this, and like it
No.
basically bears out into two things. One of which has some level of merit, though is probably more general than they'd like to admit, as like in terms of a problem. And then the other end of it is like basically like them just being ultra paranoid and thinking everything's about them.
Yes.
First thing is that in the 90s, Williamson had a clinic in California that that basically like took care of a bunch of HIV/AIDS patients, and also simultaneously like preached like self-help stuff. And in the sense that of the self-help, if you want to say that the problem with self-help, kind of like believe in yourself and you'll get past like whatever problems you have sort of rhetoric.
Oh,
Yeah.
the implication is that
Yeah.
it might help with the AIDS.
Or just if you want to imply that it's ableist in general, it is ableist, but I would say that broadly the self-help stuff is a method of coping with reality where your material conditions are not going to be alleviated.
Yeah.
And it can be ableist. I will say that it can be, though the implication is like with the intent of being I don't know. I know that intent doesn't matter with these things too much, but to say
Well,
that like the prime thrust of self-help rhetoric is like, I don't know, to get disabled people to shut up, I don't think that's true necessarily. Though it is
not.
mildly ableist.
It
Go ahead.
with it, what you're looking at is with the self-help stuff. If you think about what it is trying to individualize a systemic issue, and
Yes.
a lot of what they call ableist in this context is
Mhm.
an identitarian monadist form of the critique of capitalism. And it just
They can
comes out,
individualize it, they can privatize it as well.
yes.
Yeah.
So what they have done is they've transformed what really the real relationship of the self-help stuff, which is that like you should probably just ignore the overwhelming amounts of capitalism and fix whatever's wrong with your shit, dickwad, right? That's really what
Mhm.
self-help is ultimately. It's hyper individualized. It places the problem of society in you and says if you just be happier, you'll fucking do better, right?
Yo, Dr.
Mhm.
Phil, shut up and work.
Yeah.
Or lobster meat diet benzo man.
Again,
You know,
Oh,
Peterson-
yeah,
the
him. yeah.
Kermit man. You know, the Kermit man.
Kermit.
Peterson's in that whole realm, right? And self-help works because if you're feeling bad, somebody telling you to clean your room, to have more positive thinking, to put a more positive spin on things, on certain issues can help. But again, if you compare like my leg is in pain, That I
Yeah,
can't
see,
positively think
they
that
fuck
away.
up. They fuck up when it's like the person is doing their own thing and they're happy with it and they're not hurting anybody, or um, they really are just fucked and like I'm starving here. Like
Yeah.
It's just kind of
What are you-
sad though. It's sad to
I'm
think
not
how many
gonna
people.
manifest myself into some food.
Yeah. I think for me it's sad to think how many people that maybe really are functional though, even when they're like sad or angry, like might actually successfully bury that someday with like self-help. Like it's good, I guess, like if they're happier and they stay that way forever and stuff, but like okay, like Dan, like if you experience physical pain and then you go burn down Twitter to distract yourself, later I get to see that thread of just Dan just blap 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 clap, get fucked, and then spin around, and somebody's like, "Well,
That
what
is-
about get fucked?"
that-
slapping the hammer, clapping a
that is-
clap, and I have a good time. when I see thread.
that is the heroin is terrible, but it's helped my music collection argument.
Yes,
That's what you just
yes.
did. Yeah,
Self-destructive artist.
but no.
The Bill Hicks.
Yeah. The problem is, again,
Louis C.K.
I really right. I really want to hammer this home though. The idea of the self-help working is premised upon that there's nothing wrong with the system and it's wrong with you not adopting the system, which takes self-help to its logical conclusion. Say that to a black man's face while the cop's knee is on his neck.
Oh, Oprah
Yeah.
does that.
Yes, she does. She's one
God,
of the prime
yes.
offenders. Like, it's the happiness industry, it's the self-help industry. These things are entirely
Have you
just
tried conforming harder?
yeah.
Do you feel like early during the Obama administration when he was doing like the Cosby routine and he was like, "Oh, pull your pants up and shit," like when he was doing that early on and then
Yeah.
he backed off of it, do you feel like that Oprah like just picked up the football and just ran all the way through the end zone with that routine and like is still running like
Well, they have the same job. It's selling out black people.
Yeah.
yeah, I guess so.
It's really-
Jesus.
Not all black sellouts look like Stacey Dash. They're not all that hot and that incredibly flagrant.
Nah, we got a whole class.
Wait,
now
wait,
we got
you're sniffing
Kanye
Stacey
West's,
Dash over
and we
there?
got the
I already said Stacey Dash was the hotter between her and Kim Klacik. All right.
You're
we
sniffing
got the
that, though?
Herman Cain's
just
over
fragrant.
there. You see him over there. Well,
Yeah.
not
I was-
anymore,
I was
but
trying
you've
to
seen
remember
him.
who that is. I have a hazy image in my head of an attractive lady that you see, and you're
She's
like,
included.
"Hey, look over here," and then she just says like, not something foul, but something incredibly like
She
just
just clucks
dumb.
like a chicken.
Wait,
Stacey will
are you
say
asking
something
who
about.
Stacey Dash is?
Like I vaguely know.
Oh yeah, no, she's the lady from the All Falls Down Kanye West video.
Oh,
No, she was from
Clueless.
Clueless.
Yes.
Well, she also did that. Excuse me. That's what I know her from. I never actually watched Clueless. I know her from the
What?
fucking. Yeah,
You gotta go
I've
watch
seen
Clueless.
clips. I've seen like individual things. I've actually seen the movie, I think, but I
Yeah,
do not
that-
remember.
She was in the movie.
Or sorry, the
It-
TV show. I've seen the TV show, not the movie.
No, you gotta
Excuse
watch
me.
the movie.
Now
Movie's
back
the
then
thing,
you
yeah.
wouldn't have.
It owns.
Back then, depending on how long ago, you wouldn't have really understood just how raunchy they was trying to be.
yeah, that's true. It seems a little dated now, but at the time it was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was awesome filth back then, and it rocked cock. But yeah, no, I cannot stress it enough. It is the monadism solution to it. So what they pick up on is what they hear, they feel is they're being ableist. They're being ableist. What they can't fathom is that you were never actually factored into it, and the ableism is just runoff. It's just sloppy sewage from the machine. You are not the end product. It's not like with policing where the racism is the product. It is absolutely just the fucking bilge that comes out in the machine after the product's been made, which is to make sure you're distracted and not talking about capitalism. And then when you chirp up that it's ableist, what you're doing is eating the product.
Yeah.
Because you have to understand that relationship. It's so critical to understand when somebody's actively ableist versus it's bilge. It's a common problem with people who are legitimately victimized. If
I mean, we're not sitting here saying ableism isn't serious. Ableism is fucking Nazi shit.
Yeah.
Like
Ableism
straight
is
up.
No,
very-
you're
yeah,
saying
I mean,
you're
even-
saying when you
even
when
me
you're
is saying
victimized,
that
you see
ableism is
everything
important and
as
As an
serious.
active attack.
Yeah.
I
you
want to.
see everything as an active attack, even the slightest aggression.
Yeah.
I do
Even
want to like just bring this back to
non-aggression.
the idea that like it's possible for you to be like passively ableist or
Sure.
whatever way you want to put that.
Oh hell yeah!
The thing that I want to note here, because there are all sorts of things, and I think generally speaking, self-help stuff when it's preached by, I don't know, you're like weird aunt or all sorts of figures preach it that like don't have any real authority or whatever, just people it's not such a bad thing. It's kind of benign. It's just I mean it's not great, but you know the people personally or whatever. When
Right,
it's
like-
somebody who has control over a clinic, it is different.
Yeah.
And especially considering the fact that like at the time she was running this stuff, she was basically like running a hospice.
Yeah.
And kind of again, this is one of those things where somebody's in charge and because of their own ideology, they end up harming people that like they don't intend to harm. I would say that there are legitimate problems with what Williamson was doing there.
Oh yeah.
The thing
Yeah.
that I wanted to focus on though, is, and that was, by the way, that was about 20, 30 years ago. The thing I wanted to focus on is a more recent, and this is the key here. This is like what I'm talking about with the paranoid delusional stuff.
Mhm.
This was when Williamson was running for president. And let's see. You probably all remember this quote because this is basically the largest moment of her run. Williamson proclaimed, "We have a sickness care system. What we need to talk about is why so many Americans have unnecessary chronic illnesses."
Yeah.
So that is a really good point that Williamson is making.
Absolutely.
In fact, and to be fair to her, she was the only candidate who even like even mentioned that like for a second. And I will get into some of the implications as to why she was the only one willing to say that. Especially like one of the primary things being, I think, that the first state is Iowa, but I'll get to that in a minute. This is part of an article that Spoonie linked to about Williamson being ableist, and this is the other half sort of the ableist claims that get made against Williamson. While acknowledging the role that environmental policies play, she also implied that healthcare representatives, in order to turn a profit, erroneously diagnose patients with healthcare problems, essentially implying pharmaceutical companies do price gouge customers, but this does not make their medication any less necessary for those with chronic pain and illness. By implying that their diseases are a creation of big pharma, Williamson is playing, even unintentionally, upon a stereotype of disabled people, that they are not ill. So to parse out what that quote was trying to get at, basically she heard the quote that Williamson said about why do so many Americans have unnecessary chronic illness, and she said, Williamson's implying that my disability is fake and made up.
Yeah.
Which is 100% paranoid delusion.
Well,
I'm sorry. That's not what Williamson was implying. If that's what you read about it, you just fucking think everything's about you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
makes no sense that would be the conclusion that you get from that quote.
And
Well-
my conclusion from that conclusion is that you're a monster.
Well,
You know,
here-
this
You're really
is a
on a
weird
tear
one.
tonight, man.
This is a weird one for me because
Well, here,
okay, down
let-
here we
let
still
me-
don't have medical or anything that's good. Like I think you can get medical here if you like, blow your doctor or whatever. But
Mhm.
like down here I've known a lot of people in my personal life that got off pills because we started getting a bunch of really killer dope from out west, like where it's legal.
yeah.
And like that is not like a universal experience. That is not like a thing for everybody or whatever. But
Mhm.
I always wish that in this type of larger
You
conversation,
sure?
if it, yeah, I mean, like I'm being very fair to all sides here. But I always wish that because I used to party a lot back in the day. I don't know if you guys can tell. I don't know if anyone can tell, but I used to play it pretty fast and loose with the dope. I always wish that somebody like this psychopath, monster or not, I always wish that you could just shove a fucking joint in her mouth and see if not only did it change like her perceptions about like a lot of things that she's unpleasant about, but also see if it didn't solve that problem for her too.
Nah.
Like to me, the ghost of marijuana
I'm with
replacing a lot of
EattheRich
these.
on this one. It's not going to do fucking shit.
Here,
You're
know
probably
what?
right.
People
I
that you could give them literal happiness in a bottle and they'll
You're-
fucking
They'd be like,
walk away fucked
why
up.
hiding this
I don't think
happiness?
that
I'm
that's-
sorry. I'm sorry, but the presumption is you think she's already not. She very well could be. This could be
Yeah,
the
that's true.
marijuana form. Here, I want to read you something,
Like-
right? So,
Chiefing all day is
The
still
side
a bitch.
effect of the marijuana poisoning.
John, go ahead and read that quote again that Marion Wilson said that is, of course, the ableist slur that is worse than the actual Nazi eugenics program. Go ahead and read
Okay,
that
this
again.
is directly the quote from Williamson.
Yeah.
We have a sickness care system. What we need to talk about is why so many Americans have unnecessary chronic illness.
I see. That's funny because I'd like to bring up another quote that's similar. You ready? So, reflexive impotence amounts to the unstated worldview amongst the British young, and it has its correlate in widespread pathologies. Many of the teenagers I worked with had mental health problems and/or learning disabilities. Depression is endemic. It is the condition most dealt with by the National Health Service, and it is afflicting people at increasingly younger ages. Number of students who have some variant of dyslexia is astonishing. It is not an exaggeration to say that being a teenager in late capitalist Britain is now close to being reclassified as a sickness. And this pathologization already forecloses any possibility of politicization. And I want to point something out here that was Mr. Mark Fisher, right? Writing in Capitalist Realism, Is There No Alternative? That's on sale from Zero Books. They're not paying me. I'm just a fan.
Yeah, I like Zero Books too.
How
They're not paying us yet. Hey, Zero Books, what's up? Hey, they're not paying us yet.
Listen, if we get some more fucking followers, we might be getting a book deal from them. So let's not fucking alienate them motherfuckers, all right? Douglas Lane is a good stand-up. He's a stand-up guy. Okay.
Would we expect
And
anything other
RJ.
than alienation?
Do not invite alienation. God damn it. Now, anyway, what I want to ask you, John. What do you think? Is there anything really functionally different, but for length, between Williamson's proposal and Fisher's proposal?
I mean, I think that Williamson was problems with heart disease and cancer that come from and this is my assessment of what I got from Williamson. She was talking about like heart disease and cancer that you get as a result of like basically like engineered chemicals that are in food. I was really thinking about like, you know, like high fructose corn syrup shit.
Really?
That's the implication that I got from her.
See, what I got was an
Mhm.
actual critique of capitalism in that this system is producing sick people. That is its function because it profits off of the production of sick people, i.e., universally, if we retool how we treat people, there's
Mhm.
likely to be a reduction in people needing treatment.
Okay, talking about like there's more money in the treatment than the disease, or
Yeah.
the treatment than the cure. Okay, see,
That is
I
without a doubt true.
yeah, so I do see it as being maybe
Depends on
part of
the-
what she was
depends on the
implying,
condition.
but that's I had a more kind of direct interpretation, I guess you'd call it, of what she was writing, or more literal.
Either way, you can see the horrible circle, though. You can see, like, oh, I got a job. I finally have health insurance. And then a month later, you're like, oh, God, I feel so fucking bad from this job. Well, time to go to the doctor now that I have health insurance. Hey, doc, I feel fucking terrible all the time. Like, yeah, like you can kind of see the circle, right? Of like, you know,
Yeah.
of course you feel fucking terrible. You had to
Welcome
get that job.
to
to get that
America.
yeah.
Well, yeah,
Mhm.
and then the food that you have available to you thanks to the shitty low-wage jobs like those $1 an hour drivers, you think they're eating fucking organic? You think they can afford to eat organic? And the retort,
No.
the nasty little retort is like, well, if they'd invest in the organic, they'd feel better and they could work harder. You know, listen to that cycle of abuse, fucking institutionalized and socialized. You know, so like,
I mean,
Oh, go ahead.
all the best shit in town is the most expensive shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of the sticks down here, but like we still have like I think you can drive to one Whole Foods or like there's a little outfit called like the Fresh
Hey,
Market or whatever.
how bad has food prices gone up on you down there?
Like at those bougie ass places, like okay, like even Target has a cute little grocery section now that's like nicer than the Walmart one, but like any of that stuff, if you want like something that's not poison, it's through the fucking roof, and
Yeah.
all the poison seems to be getting even cheaper.
Yeah, well, because again, the system manufactures sick people, so everything from like life-threatening illness, cancer, heart attack, etc. Right? Um, you
Yeah,
have
I generally
I'm gonna have to start growing my own food.
generally I think Williamson was implying that much of the economy is optimized to produce outcomes that continue to generate money.
Yeah.
And the idea that like that is somehow similar to talking about people who are disabled already or
faking it.
who were disabled like not as a result of those outcomes or whatever, those
Or if you
inputs.
knocked over capitalism and private insurance, we were all going to turn around and just stand in front of a pile of rubble and be like, "Well, no drugs for you guys now, like ever," because like
Yeah.
we destroyed all the like that's not going to happen.
The point is that she in no way invoked the idea that disabled persons are faking it. She would not look at me and say I'm faking it. She might say something that would
Giggity.
rub me the wrong way, right?
Yeah.
But she's not
Sure.
going to look me in the face and be like, "Well, your back injury and your subsequent like leg pain that's causing mobility issues is fake." That's not happening. She would, frankly, Williamson of all people would be pretty fucking pissed off if you made that claim. She's not going to look at like that's just not who she is. Like you can just tell by her personality, right? But she would definitely push the self-help angle, which again, the ableism is casual. It is a result of the system, not a feature.
She stirred up a lot of shit with that primary run, man. I'm pretty impressed. Like, if you think about all the like nothing candidates that were in that one, and if you think about all the people that have run in the past to just do nothing basically except eat shit and lose.
Yeah.
She stirred up a lot of shit with that little move, man. People were
Yeah.
like, "Why is this person getting in?" And she stirred up some shit. She looked dead ass into the camera and said Trump was the fucking the fucking forces of hatred and shit. I mean, like that was kind of goofy. There were some goofy things about it, but she stirred up some shit. We're still talking about it. People still know who she is. People thought about what she was saying.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I think the other thing too about that statement that Williams had made that I'm so impressed about is that like maybe it was wrong of me to just read it as essentially talking about like look you need like all the heart disease that's caused by the stuff people eat or whatever because that's what I read it as and she said that shit with Iowa looming. Right. And one of the reasons that like I don't think that shit gets talked about at all, especially in like presidential primaries, is that like you talk about that shit and you threaten fucking corn subsidies and high fructose corn syrup for like a second and you're doomed in Iowa immediately. So and I think that's also one of the reasons that like now that one of the many reasons that corn subsidies and just like corn in general and agribusiness is like completely off the table in terms of addressing in this country because the fact of the matter is that addressing it would mean that somebody who would have to go through the Iowa process, if you will, would have to do something that harms Iowa even a little bit. And yeah, maybe the president is in the middle of their term or whatever, but most of those senators are fucking sharks, and they're thinking a huge portion of them are thinking about Iowa at all times.
Yeah.
At which point that shit's just off the table because they can't ever harm Iowa.
Yeah,
I'm
and
just
honestly,
thinking now.
Iowa doesn't fucking matter. The last election proved that Iowa doesn't mean shit. Biden fucking
Nowadays, yes.
So like
at the time, it was. I mean, the Iowa had the whole debacle hadn't happened yet, so I understand That's one of the things that I think was so brave about what Williamson said.
Yeah, well, I don't doubt in my mind that that wasn't part of her thinking, but the other part of her thinking is like, if you look at all the people who are fucking depressed, which is like the number one illness in this country, and has a shit ton of rampaging problems, maybe stress, maybe unfucking healthy amounts of stress might be it, but depression is not far behind that. And once you're depressed, it's a lot easier to fall into traps that cause heart disease, high blood pressure, um,
Hmm.
all those things that are ostensibly treatable, which again, if you have a legitimate ability issue for some reason, my mobility has nothing to do with any of that. You know,
Yeah.
she's literally, this is one of those things where Coffee Spoonie was literally unfucking invited, and because she wasn't invited, she screamed ableist,
I
which
mean, I
is
I guess
shallow as fuck.
you could like make the one link you could make is that maybe like you're thinking about the stress and the gun on the back of your head and all that stuff when you make the false step that pinches your nerve, that twists you, that finally pushes you over the edge. Like you could maybe make that link to where all the millions of times that you lifted, all the ways that you held your back and twisted to the side and you're picking something up you shouldn't have done, the long-term muscular skeletal stress injury, like you could make the link that maybe if you weren't always stressed out, you would always remember to do things properly, and then you might. But that's as close as you could get.
Well, and then what are you doing in that narrative? Basically, you're still trying to find a way to make sure Marion Williamson attacked you.
Yeah,
Like if
yeah,
that's your story about why it happened, like you're
Yeah.
still trying to find a way. Like you're
Yeah.
just
Yeah, and
reaching.
the other, to bring this back to Spoonie for a second, the other there was one other big Twitter interaction she had. This was also a while ago, I think. But didn't she also have another separate problem with an Uber driver that
Yeah.
involved like her dog or whatever?
Yeah, was she the one who couldn't take her dog? It's one of these.
I'd
Spoonie
swear it was
assholes.
her.
If it wasn't Spoonie, it was somebody similar to Spoonie, and basically, like the driver just didn't want a dog in his car. Which-
He's like, I took this contract thing, and they didn't tell me there were going to be dogs.
Yeah.
He's like terrified of dogs.
Well, I agree. Honestly, I don't like having dogs in my car, but that's like, that's
Who
a
let the
personal
dogs
decision.
out?
No, well, the other thing is that car is like linked to his livelihood.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know.
And it,
Yeah, like
it-
the next
it-
customer's like, there's a big dog turd back here.
Yeah, the
Like-
next customer is like the Karen who's like, I'm deathly allergic to dogs. I'm canceling you for having a dog in here.
Yeah.
Is this a dog hair? It's like she's like got like holding one hair.
Yeah, I remember that one because my solution was basically like we need public transportation that's intentionally divided among pet, non-pet.
Yeah.
I would only ride the pet transportation.
That's fine. The point is though, that's fine, right?
Yeah.
Because at that point, the pet
Even when
or
I
the
didn't
service
have
animal.
You
Yeah.
could literally just like film a TikTok of yourself like moonwalking through the middle of the pet car, the pet train,
Oh,
and then post
be
it and get
so
like 10
happy.
trillion views just because people want to look at all the little guys that you got to
honestly,
see on the
like,
pet train.
I've always made that argument for planes. There should be like specific pet only flights. I would specifically go for those flights, even if I didn't have a dog.
Just to see all the awesome weirdo
And Ben
dogs. and
Shapiro
cats.
would
Yeah,
go
yeah,
for
yeah,
the
yeah.
trains.
Yeah, Ben Shapiro would definitely go for the trains, so I was trying to include him this time.
You know what I'm sitting here
Yeah.
thinking about now? The
Cats aren't a
fucking
fan of him. He just pets the wrong way every time.
Yeah.
the corn thing really blows your mind though. And now I'm sitting here thinking like everybody wants to do like a slick alt history with a time traveler. What if a guy goes back and he tells the Indians just not to if he tells the native, if he tells the indigenous tribes people who inhabited the continent of America and were robbed
Hey,
heartlessly of their lands by the colonizers, if he goes back and tells the correct version of what I said 4 different other things of, if he goes back and tells those people, just don't give these motherfuckers the maize, man. Just
Hey,
don't give
a
these
real
motherfuckers the corn.
time traveler movie would be amazing. Imagine it. You could just go through anywhere in time and just warn people, be like, no, don't
Yeah,
do
I guess
that."
really I'm reducing it beyond what it should be if you say like just go tell the indigenous tribes people, tell them not to give the colonizers
Like,
corn.
listen, Solid, we gotta talk.
Really, you should just go tell everybody to just not give the white people anything. Like, really.
Oh
It-
yeah,
it
the
goes beyond
indigenous.
the corn.
Ah, just close your doors. Don't let the motherfuckers over. No, no.
You could do a whole movie where they just argue at the
Get
time
rid of
travel
them. Get
place.
them out.
Yeah.
Africa? No, 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 no. Don't let them open up shop. No.
You know, they still do 10 Little Indians on YouTube. And my kids
Do
watch it
they?
all the time. And I'm like, this
Uh.
is basically a slur at this point.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's still in my
Basically,
head.
at this point, it was the whole time.
It's still in my, it's in every South Carolinian's head. Like, it's still like, like,
that's on par with the Bugs Bunny cartoons. You know the ones.
yes. Oh God, yes. But you still, at least, Warner Brothers or whoever rounded up all that stuff. Well, I don't know. You can probably still get a fair piece of that stuff on YouTube.
Well, people clamor for it, so they put it up on like YouTube and stuff. But I don't think you can actually find a copy of it.
Yeah.
I can't find any of the old, really bad Tom and Jerry's.
Oh yeah, God. Okay, somehow they nuked that shit. Because I did go looking for that shit one time, because I wanted to see, like, how bad is this really? Because I remembered it being bad. Like, I remembered,
get
like,
the regular Tom and Jerry's.
right. But I wanted to see, like, how much of it was just distorted in my memory of how bad it was. And I didn't find nothing. I didn't find no lady of any shade talking to them guys in any
what
voice.
really got them? You know what really got them was the fireworks episode. Because
Wait, what is that one?
You got kids who watch that shit. It's a 4th of July celebration. It's all red, white, and blue, and they're shooting fireworks at each other. And they do the Tom and Jerry tricks. Like, he's got a big one, he's like, oh no, it's gonna explode, and then it's a little one, and he's like, ha ha ha, and boom in the face, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, every time somebody gets exploded
The
in
whole
a
episode,
cartoon
the whole
from the
episode
40s.
is just them blowing each other up with fireworks.
Yeah.
And they were like, we let kids watch this?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
They were like, oh hell no.
It seems fine. All right. So yeah, no, I just want to end on this, and like what you're seeing right now, in the case of the coffee spoonie, in the case of the Cuomo, and so many other relentless examples. This is what happens when you pump the notion of the monad to be the social operating unit, and there is no, and
When you
excuse me,
pump straight unfiltered Karen directly into the bloodstream of America.
well, what is more accurately a monad than the Karen, the Stalin? Everybody's their own Stalin, everybody's their own little Hitler, because everybody has to have things their way for their subjective existence. What you
And
get,
thus
That's Hitler. He was
we are
super
all the
Hitler.
monsters all along.
Yeah.
Little Hitler coming to CBS this fall.
No, I'm not kidding you. I mean, there's a reason that I harp and harp and harp.
Someone
on,
grab Mini-Me?
Yeah. Well, there's a reason I harp on allyship, solidarity, the meta critique. It's because the more and more we focus on the monad, the more fucking destructive and abstract it gets, to where, like, problems that are just smacking you in the face. Uber, the fucking problem's Uber.
Yeah.
The fucking
Oh, the
problem.
gig economy. That's just becoming a problem. That's about to be a real big problem.
Oh, it already is a real big problem. That's just going to keep increasing, because there's no brakes on the train, because we have leadership like Cuomo, who are untouchable and unassailable, and for their excellent work of killing old people and lying about it and threatening other people, they are rewarded with Emmys. Because
Hey, who wasn't killing old people?
I'll put it to you another way, right? If the liberal project was to kill God and then become God, what they have done is created a 330 million member pantheon that is fucking awful.
Yeah.
And we are fucked as a result. And that's the real problem right now, is that we don't even relate to the other in a way that we can begin to plan to overcome these hurdles. We can identify them all we want. It doesn't matter, because there's no way to organize to get over that hurdle. The monad has destroyed the collective completely, and we have to pull ourselves back from it.
Like they've weaponized even their own scandals to the point where
And
even if we
yesterday.
got people tuned into what's actually important, what's actually going on, in a couple of days, there's going to be a statement finally from Lisa's hot friend, and then everybody's going to have to listen to that and think about that.
Yeah.
Like they've weaponized even their own scandals to the point of just filling
They
the horizon.
weaponized it so much they can just make some shit up on the spot and roll with it for years.
Oh yeah.
And that's where we're at, people. So sorry to end on a downer, but
And then everybody would be like, well, you mean it was fake the whole time? Yeah, it was fake the whole time.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's a downer for everybody, but
that's-
Lisa's
all right.
hot friend.
Yeah, it's a
Lisa's hot friend is going to be famous.
Yeah, she will. All right. So that was the Sons of Trier podcast and live stream. Of course, I'm Dan Cohen at Ketzeran on Twitter. You can find us at facebook.com/SoTriercast. You can find us at YouTube at the Sons of Trier official. I will be uploading a new remix very soon. And you can find us on twitch.tv. We will be adding more content there once we figure out kind of what we want to do there. I think something more gamer anime related, something fun. I was joined by John Sinclair, Cenk, Engels, EattheRich, and TheTrueHorror at TrueHorror69 on Twitter. You should also check out his Patreon, patreon.com/TrueHorror. And if you're on the official page on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We do put up content weekly. Not so much that we bomb your notifications, but enough that you know we're there and we're thinking about you.
Listener, I'm lonely on that Twitter, and I said like 100 things tonight that you should be mad at me for saying. Like, please, like, blow me up on that fucking Twitter, man. Fucking bury my ass on that thing.
We
Make
will,
give 'em
something
a
happen
hug.
over there for me.
we
Thanks,
will-
America.
Thank you. Yes,
We
please
love
do.
you.
All right. Good night.